Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Day 3 of Saints camp out in Irvine, California. There was another notable injury and some shuffling among starters that I want to get to. But here was Dennis Allen with the media after practice on sort of the balance they're finding offensively and defensively.
Overall, I thought another good practice. I was just telling the team, there's been some things I've seen, defensively each day that I've really been pleased about. And there's been some things offensively that I've been really pleased about. So, what you're looking for is a little bit of that, ebb and flow to practice. And you don't ever want to see one side of the ball dominate the whole practice. I don't think we've seen that yet. So we're making progress, and yet we still have a long way to go.
All right, like to hear it. I would say there has been one unfortunate piece of practice so far through 3 days that have sort of cast a shadow. Day 1, Kendre Miller left with a hamstring injury. Day 2, Trajan Jeffcoat left with the dislocated elbow. And day 3, there was another injury, this time to Marshon Lattimore.
It looked like Marshon left early and didn't come back.
Yeah, he left with a little bit of a hip flexor.
So hip flexor for Marshon Lattimore. He had that injury, that same injury, by the way, at the Combine back in 2017, of the year he was drafted. And Lattimore is, you throw out the caveat, when he's healthy, when he's right, he's still one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. The problem for Marshon Lattimore has been he has missed 17 games combined over the last 2 years. He had the lacerated kidney a couple of years ago. Then last year, the ankle took him away from the team. So he's effectively missed a full season combined over the last 2 years. And all the conversation this offseason was Marshon Lattimore trade rumors and whether or not that was actually going to happen. The Saints seem bullish on keeping Lattimore. Maybe that is rooted more so in the fact that they didn't have what they felt was a suitable offer. But you're better with Lattimore. You are a better team with Marshon Lattimore on the field. The question is, can you keep him on the field? Similar to the conversation Dennis Allen was alluding to earlier this week with Kendre Miller. So Kool-Aid McKinstry stepped up and took the reps with the ones when Marshon Lattimore was not out there. So we'll see how long he might be out with that hip flexor, when they might get him back. Obviously, the target is you just want to be healthy and ready to roll for week 1. At this point, we're talking about training camp, and Lattimore's a veteran player. We all know that. But we'll continue to follow the injuries as that has become a little bit of an underlying story. By the way, Dennis Allen was asked for an update on Kendre Miller after practice on Friday.
We also saw Kendre Miller just before practice in uniform. Is he doing any better?
He's going through the hamstring rehab process. So that's where he's at.
Bro, he is salty. Dennis Allen is not happy with Kendre Miller. I mean, that is a guy that's usually affable and kind of friendly, more of the perspective of a player's coach. You can hear it. I mean, you don't have to be a human psychologist or to know Dennis Allen to understand that. Like, just listen to the tone. There's guys that realize they got to make an impact this year. Kendre Miller's one of them. And listen, that's a guy he signed off on. I mean, he drafted Kendre Miller. He was part of the staff that drafted Kendre Miller. They have higher expectations for a guy they took in round 3. So, especially with the Kamara contract situation. That's one we're going to have to keep following. Outside of that, the injuries and the updates there was maybe one notable on-field difference on Friday. I want to take you back actually 24 hours if we could. So on Thursday, after practice, Dennis Allen was asked about when they might start rotating at right tackle and left guard. Remember, Trevor Penning has been at right tackle. Nick Saldiveri has been at left guard. And through 2 practices, they had taken all the reps with the first team. And Dennis Allen was asked after practice on Thursday about that. This is what he said.
Right now you have your first group, you have your second group, you have your third group. And here's what I need to see. I need to see somebody in the second group that catches my eye enough to say, hey, this guy needs to go run with the ones. Same with the third group going to the second group. And so I think we have a starting place where we're at right now. And I think we need to see that group of 5 work together and see what that looks like. But then I also think, it's really kind of the player's job to say I deserve to be up there with the ones, and when they prove they're deserving of that, then I think that's the time that we start getting them some reps there.
if you believe Dennis Allen, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying that's a disingenuous thought, but that's what he said on Thursday. Well, turn the page to Friday's practice, and all of a sudden you had shuffling. So if you take Dennis Allen at his word, and I don't have any reason not to, but if you take Dennis Allen at his word, that would mean some of those guys with the 2s were playing better and earned reps with the 1s. And we saw Lucas Patrick spend much of the day, actually Mike Triplett tweeted this, that Lucas Patrick spent much of the day as the starting left guard, and Nick Saldiveri was bumped down with the 2s. Look, when the Saints went and signed Lucas Patrick, that was one that I was very bullish on. That's a guy that had been with Green Bay, they've been with Chicago. As a matter of fact, I mean, you had former coaches say he was the heartbeat of the team. Was he in Green Bay? I mean, on a line with David Bakhtiari. I mean, you had Matt LaFleur say that guy was the heartbeat of that offensive line. So that's a guy that's a team guy. It's played all over the line that I was excited about when they signed him. And that may be the plug-and-play veteran who beats out Nick Saldiveri. We saw him take reps with the 1s. Now, Shane Lemieux is the other veteran they signed, and he suffered an ankle injury recently and was held out of Friday's practice. So Lucas Patrick taking reps with the 1s at left guard was certainly noteworthy. And then at right tackle, both Landon Young, former draft pick out of Kentucky, who played last year at right tackle when Ryan Ramczyk was injured, and then Oli Udoh, the young veteran who had been with the Minnesota Vikings. Udoh also took reps at right tackle. So you're starting to see more of a rotation there with Trevor Penning as well. So does that mean Saldiveri and Penning aren't performing, or do we take Dennis Allen at his word that those other guys are playing well enough to earn reps with the 1s? I don't know. I'm not there. But if you take Dennis Allen at his word, it would seem to stand to reason that those other guys are playing better and deserve reps at the 1s, and that could be a positive thing for New Orleans if all of a sudden you're creating genuine competition instead of having to find someone to fill that spot because the guy you thought was going to be a plug-and-play guy, the guy you thought would be the incumbent there, isn't playing well enough. So, again, they haven't even put on pads yet, and until they do, and really until you start to see them with game reps in the preseason, we're not going to have a really good sense of that. But this is an opportunity here to start that process and get some of those guys reps. So you're starting to see some shuffling there on the offensive line, which, as we've talked about, biggest question in fall camp for the Saints, or in training camp for the Saints. You got 3 spots up for grabs on the offensive line. Maybe the best news so far, Taliesin Fuanga, through 3 days, he's taking all the reps with the 1s at left tackle. That's your first-round pick. You need him to be a plug-and-play starter this year. And so far, again, 3 days, no pads. But so far, so good. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.